A short-haired woman in heels, carrying a stack of thick papers in her petite arms, walks towards a room she desperately wants to avoid. It's a private room where a man sits in his throne-like chair, wearing an icy expression, creating a cold and gloomy atmosphere. This is in stark contrast to the demeanor of a woman named Yin, who is his new secretary. In her heart, Yin regretted signing up as the secretary for this man, who happens to be the CEO of Jian Corporation. However, Yin had no other choice because she desperately needed money, given her critical financial situation. With slow yet determined steps, Yin approached the sacred door, initiating the process with her hand gently knocking on it. Unbeknownst to her, as Yin opened the door, the man she feared was already standing in front of it. Sorry sir, for startling you. I'm here to deliver some documents as per your request. Took you long enough. I was about to come over. Yin didn't expect her boss to say that. She had worked hard on the documents, thinking she had met the CEO's expectations, but apparently, it still fell short for her icy boss. I apologize, sir. I thought I was on time. Earlier, I double-checked the documents because there were still many typos in some of them. Just checking the typos took you so long. Jungkook re-entered his office with the documents handed by Yin. Once the door closed, Yin transformed into a boxer in front of the door, her anger now unstoppable. Mumbling profanities, she suddenly stopped as the door opened again, revealing Jungkook's poker-faced expression. Yin, striking a kung fu-like pose with a pouting mouth, faced him. Yin stared wide-eyed, quickly lowering her legs and returning her hands to their original position. She elegantly smiled, attempting to neutralize her demeanor. What were you doing just now? Nothing. I was cleaning a gecko on your door, but I wanted to strike a kung fu pose first so it would be scared. Is there anything else, sir? The documents have been signed. Give them to the marketing division to handle the marketing plan. Alright, I'll do it promptly, sir. Yin immediately assumed a respectful posture, taking the documents back into her hands. Jungkook shook his head as he re-entered his office and closed the door. Yin breathed a sigh of relief, quickly distancing herself from that ominous door. All office employees were observing the interaction between Yin and Jungkook. One of the senior staff members, Han Suji, grabbed Yin's arm, startling her. What's wrong? Is your soul still intact? No, it's critical now. I hope to be fired. Han Suji widened her eyes, immediately looking at her with a pleading expression. She had narrowly avoided becoming Jungkook's secretary herself, thanks to Yin's arrival. Oh, don't say that. You've only been here for 2 days. You can handle it. We've been here for 5 years, and we're still surviving. Han Suji said, glancing at other staff members who were eavesdropping on their conversation. They nodded in agreement as soon as Suji made her statement. Yin was unaffected by such remarks. When her heart said no, the outcome remained unchanged. She always trusted her own decisions. Congratulations on becoming the new secretary shortly, sis. Yin responded with a smile, but it was a teasing smile. After that, she turned around and quickly left, carrying the prepared documents. Suji and the others just exchanged glances, realizing that Yin wasn't easily swayed. Meanwhile, Jungkook appeared busy tidying up other documents that needed revision and would be handed over to Yin. While organizing his documents, Jungkook recalled Yin's demeanor, seemingly ready to attack when he wanted to hand over the documents to her. Yes, he knew his new secretary had grumbled and acted as if she would attack him. Jungkook sighed and shook his head, encountering an employee like her for the first time. However, he quickly dismissed the thought and refocused on organizing his documents, as he wasn't someone who liked to dwell on things other than work in his office. A few hours later, as the day grew darker, all employees, both the head of staff and their subordinates, began leaving the office one by one. Meanwhile, Yin was busy completing a new report that needed to be prepared for the CEO's presentation tomorrow. Despite her dislike for the CEO, there was a desire in her heart to help and assist Jungkook because it would significantly impact the company's image. Or in other words, because the boss had become the face of the company, Yin was afraid that all the staff would also be affected if Jungkook's presentation failed. Diligently, Yin prepared presentation documents, totaling hundreds of pages, until her eyes were blurry, and eventually, her head bowed down to the desk, and she fell asleep without realizing it. Jungkook went out to check on Yin's condition as he needed to prepare for revising the presentation documents she had prepared. Much to his surprise, he found Yin peacefully asleep at her desk. Approaching her, Jungkook observed her face, scrutinizing from her eyelashes to her luscious lips. Oh my, what are you doing, Jungkook? He cursed himself silently while taking a deep breath. Suddenly, he widened his eyes as he noticed Yin also staring back at him, and in the tight space between them, she was startled. Yin was so shocked that the chair she was sitting on slipped, and she almost fell along with it. However, Jungkook instinctively caught her back and cradled her petite body in his strong arms. Both were frozen, as if in that moment, the world belonged to just the two of them. Yin stared intensely at him, and Jungkook reciprocated the gaze. Their trance was broken by the sound of the office door opening, snapping them back to reality. Caught off guard, he quickly released her, causing her to stumble as she wasn't prepared to stand. Are you okay? I'm sorry. It was a reflex. Are you hurt? Jungkook crouched down, intending to help her stand. Yin, still in a daze, couldn't believe what just happened. Did she dream it? A Jungkook, as cold as the North Pole, apologized to her, albeit with his cold gaze. It's okay. The door was open first, sir. Jungkook stood up and walked towards the door, while Yin, still in pain, groaned and held her back. Shortly after, Jungkook returned to Yin, who was now sitting in her chair, though still in discomfort. Who was it, sir? You don't need to know. Now, just go home and let me handle this. Yin was stunned, quickly shook her head, and sat up straight. She felt guilty, especially since she had only completed half of what was requested. No, sir, it's okay. I apologize for dozing off earlier. I promise to finish it, even if it means working overtime. No need, I'll take care of it. Besides, your work is incompetent. Yin felt like she was struck by lightning hearing those words from him. She knew she wasn't the best, but at least he could refrain from making such cutting remarks directly to her face. It turned out her boss was truly heartless. All right, I sincerely apologize. I won't repeat it next time. Yin bowed before Jungkook, but her boss remained silent, calmly reviewing the documents without uttering a word. Yin had the urge to curse at this man. Despite having just fallen and still experiencing back pain, was there no trace of compassion in his heart? Yet, he continued to maintain his cold demeanor. Just go home now. Hastily, Yin grabbed her bag near the computer on her desk, nodded briefly to Jungkook, and swiftly darted out of the office. Once outside, the air became fresher, and the scenery looked bright and beautiful in her eyes. She sighed in relief, allowing herself to smile broadly. Then, she noticed a can lying on the street and kicked it with all her might. Damn you, Jungkook. I hate you. Just fire me. Watch out if you treat me like a dog again. I'll resign as soon as I get accepted elsewhere. Yin kept cursing him repeatedly. However, she momentarily remembered his apology and the scene when he supported her back. It was unexpected and happened so suddenly for her. Despite the office gossip portraying him as someone who never apologizes, but earlier, I clearly heard it with my own ears. Yin started fantasizing again, thinking that perhaps the apology was specifically meant for her. However, she quickly dismissed that thought and tried to snap back to reality. Now, focus on the present reality in front of me. He was just trying to torment me earlier, not even appreciating my hard work. The next morning, Yin hurriedly went to the office, feeling nervous today as Jungkook would have a presentation to introduce the company internationally. Why am I the one feeling nervous when it's him who will be presenting? Yin mumbled to herself along the way until she reached the front of the company and entered the building. Other employees were amazed at Yin's stunning appearance, with a tight knee-length dress, bold lipstick, and beautiful accessories on her ears and in her hair, making her look like the star of the day. Yin, good luck. Hope the presentation goes smoothly. Han Suji cheered Yin on, followed by the other staff. Yin just nodded in gratitude and quickly headed to Jungkook's office to pick him up. Jungkook was momentarily stunned by her appearance, but he quickly dismissed the thought and asked Yin to bring the items for the presentation. Throughout the journey to the meeting place, Jungkook and Yin remained silent, like strangers. Well, if it weren't for work, they might indeed be strangers. That's how Yin saw it, especially considering how often Jungkook annoyed her. They both sat in the second row of the car, chauffeured by the office driver. For Yin, 1 hour of travel was not a short time. Yin, who was accustomed to chatting with others, couldn't handle this awkward atmosphere. With a bit of apprehension, Yin tried to start a conversation with Jungkook, who had been staring out the car window. Do any of the documents need fixing, sir? While we're still on the way? No. In her mind, Yin grumbled. How could he answer so curtly? Yes, maybe he could handle it on his own, but not that abruptly, especially when Yin offered assistance. But no, Yin couldn't stay silent. She started humming, singing her favorite song. She thought her voice was only audible to her, but Jungkook had been listening all along. When Yin glanced at him, he was already looking at her, but with an annoyed expression. Yin swallowed hard, feeling certain that he disapproved of her current behavior. Can you be quiet? I'm sorry, sir. I just find it hard to stay silent. Jungkook sighed, then turned his face back to the window. Yin grumbled irritably and also looked out the window, so their gazes were in opposite directions. Yin, who had been silent for too long, eventually grew drowsy. The sleepiness overwhelmed her to the point where she bumped into the car window a few times without realizing it. Silently, Jungkook observed her. He was surprised to see her already asleep, and his focus shifted to her head, which could potentially be hurt or uncomfortable. From some unknown source, a sense of concern emerged. Eventually, he slipped a car pillow near the car window, and indeed, Yin became even more peaceful and comfortable with her eyes closed. Jungkook sighed in relief, watching her. Unnoticed, their car had arrived, and Yin was still asleep. Jungkook was annoyed because she had been sleeping for half an hour. Finally, Jungkook flicked his finger on her forehead. Startled, Yin reflexively touched her forehead in pain. Ugh, why? Her annoyed groan stopped abruptly when she saw Jungkook staring at her intently. Yin was surprised to see him and at the same time, puzzled to find a pillow beside her. Jungkook had propped the pillow for her. You sleep so soundly, huh? Jungkook smiled sweetly, but it felt more like a deadly sarcasm to her. She nodded while wincing. Hurry up. Yes, sir. Sorry. With a hesitant move, Yin quickly fixed her appearance in just a few seconds, using her phone as a mirror, and then joined Jungkook in stepping out of the car. Jungkook briskly walked ahead, and Yin hurriedly matched her boss's pace. Jungkook confidently and professionally promoted his company. Yin was amazed to see his presence directly in front of her during the presentation. She remembered back to her internship days when her intern office attended a similar event to assist the staff, and she witnessed a young director from Jeon Corp giving a presentation. That person was Jungkook. Now Yin is once again in awe of this man, and this is why she applied to Jeon's company in the first place, as she didn't know who the real Jungkook was. Now that she knows her boss's true character, she feels a bit regretful and wants to resign again. However, her admiration for Jungkook resurfaces, and she decides to postpone her resignation. Alright, this time I'll hold back my intention to resign. Turns out my admiration overpowers my frustration. Yin mumbles while her eyes are still captivated by his charisma. Her heart is beating faster and she even touches her chest. While Jungkook continues to speak, captivating everyone around, he becomes the sole star of the gathering. Executives from other companies are now more interested in collaborating with him. After the presentation, everyone celebrates and pours wine into each other's glasses. Yin also pours the drink into Jungkook's glass, then sits beside her boss, silently listening to the conversations among the corporate leaders. While Jungkook was engrossed in conversation with other executives, the man next to Yin started to approach her. Initially unconcerned, Yin began to feel uncomfortable as the man seated himself beside her with no space between their arms. Attempting to shift her body towards Jungkook and position herself opposite to the man, Yin thought the issue was resolved. However, the man persisted, becoming more intrusive as his hands roamed onto her smooth thigh, engaging in inappropriate behavior. Closing her eyes, Yin desperately wished to escape from that place. She wanted to scream, but why was her voice held back? This wasn't the version of herself she recognized. As Yin attempted to subtly shift her body away from the lecherous man, she unintentionally pressed herself closer, curling into Jungkook's body as if seeking protection. Jungkook realized it. He turned towards her, and right on cue, his gaze caught sight of something that ignited his anger instantly. He saw a mischievous hand attempting to touch her thigh. And a punch landed on the stomach of the creepy man. Yin was utterly surprised, staring at Jungkook with wide eyes. She witnessed how enraged he was, even lifting the collar of the creepy man again. Now all attention was directed at Jungkook. Yin, realizing this, tried to calm him. She approached him and immediately hugged his arm to restrain him, but unfortunately, Jungkook was already consumed by his emotions. Sir, please, control your emotions. Damn it. Let him suffer. How dare you do such things to my secretary? I refuse to work with you. Jungkook cursed, and Yin couldn't believe her eyes. It was the first time she saw Jungkook like this. She thought he only cared about his business, perhaps neglecting matters like the one that just happened, but Yin was proven wrong. It turns out Jungkook was still willing to protect the dignity of his employee, and that certainly impressed her, although she felt uneasy because Jungkook caused a scene at this important event. Jungkook's gaze still sternly scanned the surroundings, making everyone, especially the women, fearful of his intensity. Eventually, he let go of the man's collar, causing him to fall to the ground. Listen everyone, I know this is inappropriate behavior for a public and formal event like this, but do you know the reason behind my anger? This man I just punched had harassed my secretary. I despise indecent actions like that, especially when it's aimed at my employees. I refuse to collaborate in my business with people like him. Yin's heart raced. She felt deeply moved, realizing that Jungkook, whom she thought was cold and annoying, cared so much about her. Unconsciously, Yin reached out and held his arm, intending to calm him down. Jungkook, feeling her touch, shifted his gaze to her worried face. Once again, he let out a heavy sigh. Jungkook firmly gripped Yin's hand and guided her away from the inappropriate encounter. As they left, the murmurs among the guests intensified, and it seemed many had recorded the incident on their phones. The situation appeared destined to become viral on social media. In the car, Yin felt drained, realizing the impact of that encounter. Jungkook, observing Yin's distress, smiled faintly, taking a slow breath. He hadn't anticipated his own intense anger and protectiveness when he saw Yin being touched by that inappropriate man. Don't worry, even without them, the company will continue as usual. Yin shifted her gaze to him, realizing that she had fallen for him. Her feelings couldn't be denied any longer. It seemed she was beginning to fall in love with her boss. I'm sorry, sir. You must regret bringing me to the event. I've ruined the occasion and the opportunity for your company to gain more recognition, even though I was looking forward to this chance. But the one most disappointed here must be you. I apologize, and thank you for saving me earlier. It's not a problem. Besides, collaborating with him doesn't guarantee success. Yin nodded with a shy smile. This man continued to make her heart race. No, she couldn't hold back anymore after realizing her feelings for him. Currently, Jungkook was staring out of the car window with a calm and indifferent expression. Yin looked at her boss once again, and Jungkook, feeling observed, turned his face, meeting her gaze. Yin's heart was racing uncontrollably while Jungkook's thoughts were heading in an unexpected direction, shifting from looking into Yin's eyes to her luscious lips. Jungkook, still fixated on her lips, was suddenly startled by, "I love you, sir." Jungkook's heart suddenly started pounding rapidly. The driver, who overheard her confession, was focusing on driving and was startled by the sudden revelation. This caused Yin and Jungkook's faces to collide, and without realizing it, their lips touched. Jungkook and Yin were both shocked, feeling the unexpected and tangible touch. The driver was even more astonished, his eyes wide open, witnessing this unprecedented scene right in front of him, especially Jungkook, their boss. The driver hastily resumed the journey as honks from behind became more persistent. Like an alarm, it brought Jungkook and Yin back to reality, prompting them to quickly distance themselves from each other. Jungkook cleared his throat roughly, while Yin fell silent with flushed and crimson cheeks. The atmosphere, once ordinary, became increasingly awkward until they arrived at their office, both of them remaining silent without uttering a single word. Upon arriving at the office, all eyes were immediately on Jungkook and Yin. Yin had anticipated that the two of them would become a hot topic, especially after their boss's cold move to protect her. Suddenly, Han Suji stood up, followed by other employees. With enthusiasm, they collectively congratulated Jungkook. Jungkook became even more puzzled by his employees' behavior. What's so special that everyone is suddenly congratulating me? Congratulations, sir. 7 out of 10 companies present at the meeting were immediately interested in collaborating with you. It seems many support your actions, sir. Han Suji proudly conveyed the news while showing the viral coverage on social media, where many recorded the incident and promptly uploaded it. Yin was surprised but also delighted with this good news, while Jungkook appeared nonchalant as usual. Thank goodness. I won't have to bother with presentations and the tasks of this incompetent secretary anymore. Yin was taken aback by Jungkook's statement. Her annoyed expression returned as she glared at him. Jungkook promptly averted his gaze when Yin looked at him. Han Suji and the others were also surprised, but some staff found it amusing and chuckled quietly. Jungkook paid no attention and continued his way into his office. Hey Yin, your boss may not be sensitive, but actually, he's starting to be interested in you. Huh. How is that possible? Someone as cold as him can't have feelings for someone. He's probably just passionate about his work. Trust me, Yin, the words he just uttered were not meant to belittle or insult you. It was his way of teasing you. His words are always 180 degrees different when he cares about someone, and I'm 100% sure he likes you. Yin remained silent, frowning. She wanted to believe Suji, but she couldn't fully trust it as she didn't know Jungkook's character entirely. However, deep down, she hoped what was said to her was true. Hopefully, Jungkook does love her, and if true, it means her feelings are reciprocated. 1 month has passed, and many things have occurred during that long period. Jungkook, often staying up late, occasionally helped Yin with her tasks when she fell asleep. Even though he looked angry and unwilling to talk to Yin when he woke up, Jungkook's words never matched his actions. Once, when Yin fell ill, Jungkook promptly took her to the hospital and insisted she take a 1-week leave. These actions made Yin more convinced about what Han Suji had said to her. Until one day, unlike their usual routine where they were always chauffeured by the office driver, Today, Jungkook chose to go without a driver. He wanted to drive his own car while Yin sat beside him, and this was a rare moment according to Yin. After returning from a meeting with executives from other companies, Yin suddenly mustered the courage. Sir, can we make a stop somewhere? Where to? Namsan Tower. Why there? Is it not allowed? If so, it's okay. Jungkook didn't understand her intention to take him to that place, but what he knew was that today was her birthday. Eventually, Jungkook complied with her request. Upon arriving there, Yin immediately ran a little and admired the glittering cityscape at night from the top of the tower. Jungkook was captivated by the sight of the woman smiling broadly with her hair swept by the wind, adding to the beauty of Yin's face. By the way, why did you grant my request, sir? No reason. Don't lie. I know you must be aware that today is my birthday, right? Quite confident. If you don't want to admit it, I won't say the important thing I was planning to tell you, although there's something important I want to say. Jungkook became curious. This woman has become smart and cunning, figuring out how to make Jungkook confess. It's too soon for her to understand his character. I already know your nature, so don't blame me if I understand you too quickly because I'm the one closest to you every day. As if being read like a book, Jungkook stared as if Yin was scrutinizing what he was thinking. However, because he was also very curious about what Yin was about to say, he finally admitted, yes, I do know that today is your birthday. Yin smiled meaningfully, making Jungkook's heart beat fast, silently watching Yin's sweet smile. Without hesitation, Yin approached Jungkook and kissed his cheek. Thank you for being honest. This is a gift from me. Jungkook jerked, and his heart was beyond his control upon hearing Yin's confession, a woman he unconsciously grew fond of over the time they spent together. Despite her sometimes quirky behavior, Jungkook couldn't equate her to any other employee. Yin had confessed her love once before, in the car. At that time, Jungkook didn't respond, but after learning about her feelings, she naturally seemed to have a place in his heart. Since an employee confessed their love, even in front of the driver, it's not something common and easy to forget. Since then, Jungkook has actually started thinking and considering how Yin would be his future wife. Gradually, he began to evaluate her life, examining her background, attitude, and character. Jungkook couldn't deny that he also assessed her physically. After evaluating everything, he felt there was no issue. Jungkook can tolerate the shortcomings of Yin. In other words, she is still suitable to be his wife. And yes, truth be told, Jungkook has been interested in Yin from the beginning, captivated by her unique personality and her beautiful physical appearance. Now, once again, Yin openly expresses her feelings, and this time the atmosphere is different, with no one else between them, just the two of them. They both fall silent, their heartbeats echoing in unison. Jungkook's eyes continue to gaze at Yin standing before him. He looks closely at her face, starting from her eyes and now descending to her lips. Jungkook turns his face away, still trying to control himself. But once again, Jungkook, can't you accept my feelings? Jungkook sighs while closing his eyes briefly. According to him, Yin is truly bold, and now she even dares to address him by his name without a formal title. Jungkook. Ah, darn it. Finally, Jungkook doesn't want to hold back anymore. He steps forward, then cups her chin, gently capturing those pliant lips. Yin, initially wide-eyed, soon reciprocates, forming an intimate kiss between them. You really know how to grab my attention, don't you? Is that so? Yes. Justify it. I like you, so I want you to like me too. Well, and now your feelings have been reciprocated. But actually, I don't want us to just date. For me, that's just a waste of time. So, what do you want? I want us to get married. A relationship like that will be more certain and clear. Do you want to be my wife? Of course, I do. They continue strolling around Namsan Tower, hand in hand, in an affectionate manner.